What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Comic Breakdown. Now, in this video, we're going to be jumping into the full story arc, the full event of House of Brainiac. When it comes to this little event, there's a lot going on. We have the birth of the Brainiac Queen, Brainiac's ultimate weapon, Amanda Waller having it revealed what she is really, or who she is really working for, and what her ultimate end goal is, as this story will move us into absolute power. But here we see Superman having to team up with Lobo to try and stop Brainiac, to try and rescue the super family that is currently being held captive, being drained of all their power. But there's so much more here at play. Lobo's entire race of people, we thought them to be extinct, but as we soon are going to learn, Brainiac's got bottled cities from all over the universe. And while all of that is exciting in its own, by the time that we get to the end of this story, Brainiac is not only going to reveal certain events that are going to be coming up, but he also reveals the title of the next crisis event. We don't know when it's going to happen, but we know it will happen. So make sure you guys have subscribed to the channel, make sure that you like this video, and with that being said, let's dive into this breakdown. Alright gang, so as we dive into this issue, we pick up with Lois Lane doing her morning routine. She puts in her headphones and she begins to run. Along the way, running through Metropolis, we run into a lot of the super family. And for people that don't know who these characters are, this may be a good opportunity to hop in and try to find out what's going on. As she runs into Connor Kent, the clone of Superman and Lex Luthor. We have Otha Ra and Ulsa Ra. These are the super twins that Superman had found on Warworld. We have Kong, who is the Superman of China. Kara Zor-El, of course, Supergirl. Lana Lang, Superwoman. Natasha Irons Steel, John Henry Irons, also known as Steel. But currently, he's not doing that so much as he is running Steelworks. Not only that, he is currently engaged to Lana. Not only do we see bits of the super family, we also see recent guys put away in jail, like John Corbin, like Parasite, Livewire, and of course Lex Luthor. But this day, Lex Luthor is getting out on a work release, and he is greeted by his daughter, a newly added character. We have seen that Lena is now part of all of this in some intricate way. Taking us to the park, this is where we see Jimmy Olsen and Silver Banshee, just recently learning that the two of them are a love interest. They had kept their relationship a secret for a while, but after everything that happened with Pharma and Graph, that secret inevitably came out. All of them meeting up here at the park to do yoga. And of course, they're all waiting on Clark, but he's out doing his Superman thing, arriving fashionably late. Clark shows up, he begins to have conversation with everybody. But before they can even do anything, he hears something. He tells Lois to grab the others and get to safety immediately. This is where we have the Zarnia army and the army of Brainiac descending on Metropolis. Without hesitation, Superman jumps into action as he handles matters on the ground. He gives the commands to the others to hold disguise. Superman getting street level, helping out Lois rescue as many people as possible. And many of the super family are confused, believing that Lobo's people were all dead. But Superman knows that this has nothing to do with Lobo per se. The drones alongside them, this is obviously Brainiac's work. Supergirl has the most experience when dealing with Brainiac, and even she cannot see the logic in this attack. That he is one of strategic fighting. This fight is nothing but chaos. That is exactly what Brainiac intended for. Getting a hold of his general and letting him know to execute phase 2. He needs the smartest person on this planet. That is what takes us to Lex Luthor. Currently a LexCorp, everybody is getting into battle positions. With all the chaos, Lex Luthor knows that this is all madness. The Lobos are madness. But the Brainiac drones, they will be focused. He wants to get Lena out of Metropolis as quickly as possible. This is when his AI system comes online. But we quickly learn that this AI system, this wasn't created by Lex. This AI system, when Lex went away, was implanted by Brainiac. finally presenting himself, showing himself to Lex Luthor. And Lex wants to know, what are you up to? He tells Lex that years ago when the two of them worked together, Lex got a glimpse into his mind. He didn't know what it was at the time, but it scared him, posing the question, what will Superman do when he realizes that you gave him the resources of LexCorp and then triggered your old enemies in hopes of preparing him for what might come next? This is when the Lobos break through the window, Mercy trying to hold them off, but they inevitably get captured, Lena and Mercy together being jarred up and teleported away. Now that he has Lex's daughter, the only thing that he needs from Lex is his head. As the Lobos come in on him, we see that Lex has something up his sleeve, almost like a Green Lantern-like construct all around him, all through his watch. He charges full speed at the Lobos. As they jump out of the window, this is where he sees Superman. He lets Superman know that Brainiac has gone power hungry. He is after not only Superman's family, but also people with powers. It is crucial that Brainiac does not get a hold of them, that all of this violence is a distraction. Superman must find Brainiac's ship. He must take the fight to Brainiac. With Supergirl smashing drones, it doesn't take long for the Super family to start getting bottled up. One at a time, we see the members slowly disappear, with the drones trying to hold Superman down. The Lobos now coming for Superman, but Silver Banshee comes in with her scream, begins to dismantle with how powerful her powers are. Unfortunately, one of the Lobos is able to hit her with a gun, bottle her up, and they teleport her out of here. And Superman trying to fight back, but he is outnumbered and they are far too strong. This is where we see the General Chacal, speaking to Clark, saying that he is the Kryptonian, that they had heard about his worlds. When Superman tries to use his heat vision, it does nothing. The General going on to discuss how a distant relative of his had been beaten up by Superman a few times, that he must be a soft individual because by the looks of it, you're not all that tough. This is when Brainiac chimes in, letting the General know that it is time to go. The allies of Superman will soon be inbound and they gotta get out of here while they have everything that they need. Superman just needed some information. He knows where Brainiac's ship is. It is hidden in the atmosphere. As Superman breaks the hold that they have on him, he tells them to take him to Brainiac. Getting ready to bottle him up, this is when Lex Luthor steps into the path. He tells Superman that you are the only person who can save us, that he has my daughter. As they teleport away, Superman takes to the air. He takes off to space, but Brainiac is already gone. The Super family has been kidnapped. Lex Luthor and his family have been kidnapped. People with powers have been taken. Brainiac doing all of this to fill the void in his knowledge. He will understand what he has been missing. The universe's greatest secrets will be revealed to him. But instead of hoarding this information, Brainiac plans to share it. And Superman will sure come for them. Superman will come for all of them. Alright gang, so as we dive into this issue, we pick up at Warriors Bar in Coast City. Lo and behold, the main man is here. Which is quite funny because if you've been keeping up with the Green Lantern series, you'll know that Guy Garner, which is a tie-in to the House of Brainiac, is out there searching for Lobo on behalf of the United Planets. Little did he know, in the quarantine section of 2814, quarantined by the United Planets, this is where Lobo is. And the main man is causing all kinds of mayhem. He is tearing this bar apart. But he got stuck here after Graft and Pharma stole his motorcycle. And now learning that the United Planets had quarantined the planet, he can't even leave here if he wants to. So he's gonna cause some trouble. He's gonna stir up a ruckus. This is when he hears a very commanding voice from across the room. We have the arrival of Superman. He is letting Lobo know that they need to talk. And we know Lobo. He's always looking for a good fight, and it's been a while since he's had a real good drag-out brawl with someone. So of course, he taunts the Boy Scout, saying that this is gonna be fun, Superman uses his heat vision and he puts down Lobo instantly, laughing it off, telling Superman that you finally learned to fight dirty. This is when Superman grabs him and slams him into the ground. Asking what has gotten into Superman, Superman is asking where is Brainiac. Lobo trying to figure out why Superman would even think that they would be working together. This is what takes us aboard Brainiac's ship. We have Livewire that is getting electrocuted. Brainiac finding it quite fascinating that her powers come from an accident, but they are very similar to a species that he has observed, referred to as the lightning beasts. Parasite, another great thing to add to his collection, something that absorbs power, almost like an endless battery, forever hungry. And of course, Kara over there yelling her head off, really trying to figure out what Brainiac is up to. What is the point behind all of this? He says that after all of his travels, he's obtained the knowledge of everything. All secrets have been unlocked for across all time, space, and the multiverse. But there is still something that is missing. He has studied the patterns and the data and has only come to one conclusion. This is when there's an electrical surge through him, and it's like he starts to cough up blood, barely getting out the words, "Create something new," as the other Brainiacs come into the room and tell them to come with us. He is taken to his cooling chamber. Now, the Super Family sees all of this, and they know that there is something much bigger going on at play. With Mercy talking to Lex, Lex had said that there was something that he had seen, something that scared him. She wants to know what Brainiac was talking about, and is that why he really created Supercore? Taking us over to Superman. He is filling in Lobo on everything that has been going on. Lobo recognizing that his people aren't clones. These aren't pretenders to the throne. They're not like Crush. These guys are the real deal. In fact, he knows General Chacal. He's the OG main man. Lobo's only heard stories about this guy, legends about him. His gang was massive. What these guys were referred to is essentially the Bad Blood. The story is they took over a whole city, but then they just disappeared one day. He always thought it was stories to scare children, but it appears those stories were real, and that city disappeared because of Brainiac. And so now Lobo's in. He's down with tracking down his long-lost people. Add on top of the fact that the United Planets still has a quarantine around the planet. But some of the scientists think that they figured out a way to get through. That if he has a small enough vehicle with cloaking technology, they should be able to get past them. The kind of vehicle that it's gonna be is much like Lobo's. This is where we see the main man and Superman riding their space hogs right past the security, right past the quarantine. Now, while the two of them make their way through space, they do have a conversation. Really, it's Lobo telling Superman that I've never seen you like this. Like, I've seen you mad before. Heck, me and you have been in it time and time again, but the look on your face, the look in your eyes, Lobo can see the hatred boiling up. He can see how furious Superman is. And surprisingly, Lobo's the one to sit here and be like, you gotta let those feelings out, that you gotta deal with that anger. Lobo knows better than anybody that if you keep all that bottled up, you're gonna blow up. And he also kind of reminisces on the idea that they were the last sons of their worlds. And now look at them, both of them having a kid, having families. This is when the two of them are attacked. The general and his posse have come in, and it is now time for a family reunion. While Superman tries to let him know to hold, Lobo's excited because it's not every day you get to meet your idol. And if you want to be the main man, you gotta beat the main man. As that brawl gets underway, we pick up with Brainiac. He is coming out of the cooling pool. Brainiac, of course, being informed of the conflict that is currently ongoing, hoping that he can add Lobo to his collection, saying that they're gonna need all of his people that they can get, that he needs all the resources at his disposal. They are trying to harvest power. This is where he has a conversation with Lex. Lex being freed from captivity. Brainiac says that they've had a long history, enough to entertain Lex Luthor's little plea deal. Lex is pretty much saying, I did see something, an idea that was like a virus waiting to strike. It was proof that too much knowledge could be dangerous, but he also knows what's gonna happen to Brainiac now, and Brainiac needs his help. Brainiac says, why would I need your help when I have your daughter? Saying that it was wise to hide her away. Her time in the future with Brainiac made her mind unique in all the universe. Lex's deal is that you leave her alone. Leave her out of this, and I can give you Superman. As we pick up with Banshee screaming, trying to get out. Silver Banshee unable to do so. We have Connor that is trying to tap into his abilities. The chain told him that he had untapped potential. He's trying to use those powers to break them out. But Kara's got another plan. The root of Brainiac technology are from the Cool, and once upon a time, she was close to a Brainiac. He showed her a few tricks. Messing with the system, we see them broken out of captivity, but now they find themselves shrunken down in a honey, I shrunk the kid situation. Alright gang, so this picks us up with Brainiac and Lex Luthor. Lex has been helping out Brainiac trying to save his own skin, and Lex seems to fully understand what Brainiac is trying to get at. He is trying to create something that is going to need an immeasurable amount of power. This is why he has collected all these superpowered individuals. He means to siphon them for all of their energy and put this into his creation. While they carry on with their discussion, we are taken not far behind Brainiac's ship. Lobo and Superman teaming up together to take on the Zarians. As they are fully engulfed in battle, we see that Superman targets their motorcycles, their space hogs, because they can't fly, which means when he takes them out, they're just gonna float around in space. This is when Superman and Lobo, they take the opportunity to hightail it out of here. Not necessarily running from the fight, but just moving the playing field, moving it towards Brainiac, because they can't let Brainiac get away. Meanwhile, inside the ship, we pick up with Kara. Her and Superboy are both trying to figure out what the heck just happened to them. They were able to break out of their bottle, but apparently, they're still miniature. And so being teeny tiny, they gotta make their way around the ship without getting caught up. Knowing that they're gonna need a little bit of assistance, they go find somebody that is still big, that is regular size. The only people available is Livewire and Parasite. And Supergirl lets them know that two of the people I love have entrusted you recently. We're gonna see if you have an opportunity to continue that trust, to get everybody home and get off of this ship. This is what takes them to the armory. Brainiac being a collector, he is going to have a vast collection of weapons. And so they grab these weapons and they charge all of the Brainiacs. All the variants that find themselves here on the ship. And though they are able to do some significant damage, this ship has protocols, with tentacles coming out and grabbing hold of Supergirl. This is where we have Brainiac Prime showing up. He goes on to say that he may not be as cold-blooded as Supergirl would like to say that he is. Trying to demonstrate this, we see a city in a bottle. As this city rises up, it begins to glow. Now, of course, Supergirl thinks that this is just another city that you're going to destroy, a whole city that you want to maybe bring about in this ship, which would destroy the ship. Not fully understanding what's going on here. As they observe, we see that this is Kolu. This is the home planet to Brainiac. Because, of course, he had saved one city from his home world. Saved it before the destruction from the Omega Titans. He mentions this being a kingdom for a queen. This is where Supergirl is able to break free, using a weapon that she had grabbed from his armory. She grabs hold of Lex, and they jump, demanding Lex that is gonna have some time now to explain himself. Brainiac gives the order to collect Supergirl, and now that Lex is done, he no longer has any use. He orders for him to be executed. This is what hops us over to Hardcore Station, a place that used to be kind of a big deal. Interstellar travel, trade, rest, all that good stuff. But things went sideways when this became a criminal haven. Of course, this is Lobo's kind of town, but they are here looking for someone specific. They are here looking for the space cabbie. Because if anybody is gonna know where Brainiac may or may not be going, It's gonna be somebody who hears a lot of drunken people talk about a lot of things. What he does know is that the Zarian army has been sent down planet after planet. Any planet with powers, it has been a bloodbath, a massacre. But mid-conversation, this is where he is interrupted because the general has shown up. But the general comes with a proposition. He says that they could throw down, that Superman and Lobo would lose. They would drag him right back to Brainiac. Or they can have a discussion to make their own deal. But this isn't a deal with Superman. This is a deal with Lobo. Now, the general has visited many planets and he has heard stories about the main man. They say that he is the baddest man in all the universe. Other planets say that he's a joke. The general believes that Lobo just needs guidance. And the general isn't telling him to bend a knee. He was in Brainiac's bottle for so long, the biggest dog in the smallest yard. But the general's getting old. He is man enough to admit it's time for him to step down. But none of the individuals that are with him have the guts nor the capability to take him down, to earn their place. The general needs a successor. His gut is telling him that it is Lobo. So now he proposes the question, what do you say? Because being the main man, that's an easy job. But do you have what it takes to be the boss? And of course, he's up for the challenge. As they join hands, declaring the House of Lobo, the first order of business, Lobo has to take out the last Kryptonian. As we pick up at Hardcore Station in deep space, there is a thunderous boom. A punch heard so loud, some would speculate even Earth 13 could hear that. And that boom, it is coming from Lobo and Superman exchanging blows. While the general and his men sit here and cheer this battle on, we see these two colossal beings going blow for blow. But even as strong as Superman is, Lobo matches him. Superman tries to tell him that he's gotta stop this. But Lobo knows that this has been a long time coming. Superman has no intention of taking this any further than it needs to go. And so Superman temporarily blinds Lobo, using his heat vision to do so. He tells Lobo that they can't keep doing this, they're inevitably going to destroy the entire station. So they take this out into space. Having Lobo in a headlock, Superman is trying to talk to him, trying to let him know that this is a game, that he's using you, that this only leads to you working for Brainiac. Lobo would say that he works for no man, but Superman has to wonder, then what are you doing? Because that is exactly where you're going with this. The way Lobo sees it, after all of these years of riding solo, maybe it's time to try something different. Maybe it's time to take a new path. Mid-conversation, this is where the general wraps him up. He wraps up Superman in chains made from the fires of Apocalypse itself. The mission was to bring in Superman alive. That's exactly what the gang is gonna do. Brainiac still has members of the gang back home. They need them freed, and to free them, they need Superman. And so as they take off to Brainiac's ship, that's exactly where we pick up. Brainiac has Lex Luthor's daughter, Lena Luthor. We learn that Lex Luthor tried hiding her away, specifically away from Brainiac. He understood that her unique mind was a gift, that it was a weapon. Being very vague on the details of what he means, not even Lena knows what he means entirely, but somehow she fits into his plan. Taking us over to Supergirl and Lex Luthor. They are in the bottle city of Kolu, Brainiac's homeworld, or at least a city from his homeworld. We get a very detailed analysis of how Lex Luthor is intertwined in all of this. Everything that he has been doing with Brainiac has been for survival. That when he resurrected Brainiac with the Legion of Doom, he had to go into the mind of Brainiac. And this is where he saw something that disturbed him to his very core. Brainiac possesses a vast girth of knowledge, a completionist catalog of knowledge. But there are holes in that catalog. These holes are slowly driving Brainiac insane. Brainiac has absorbed all the knowledge of the universe, time, space, and beyond, because Brainiac denies the truth of what he is missing, and thus his mind has found something to patch up those holes. A new creature of death and destruction. Lex knows that no one should have that kind of knowledge. Some may doubt Lex Luthor's most recent change, but he is saying that he wants nobody to get hurt, especially all of creation. This is when they are interrupted by the other variants of Brainiac, as they attack Supergirl and prepare to take down Lex Luthor. This is when help arrives. Brainiac's son, Vral Dox. Not only that, but his mother as well. Now, obviously, this throws Supergirl off because the last time she saw him, he was threatening to destroy all of Earth. But right now, his most important mission is the demise of his father. While this interesting development begins to unfold, we pick up with Lobo and Superman. Superman being delivered to Brainiac. And Brainiac tells Superman that he has watched him for years. Even though there are others like him, his power set is different than any of the others. He used to believe that this extraordinary ability was a result of Kryptonian exposure to Earth's yellow sun, but he has come to learn that it is so much more than this. He is beginning to see where Superman is able to draw his strength from, hooking him up to the machine. Brainiac plugs himself in. He begins the process. As the electricity surges through all of the super family, including Superman, the agonizing pain that they are all in. But with all of this power combined, it's not Captain Planet. We have the Brainiac Queen. All the power of the super family was enough to bring her online. But the General and Lobo's people, they are here for more than just capturing Superman. The General always expected Brainiac's betrayal as they prepare to fight House of Lobo versus House of Brainiac. Brainiac lets them in on a little secret, that he has studied their DNA. By all appearances, they're indestructible, they're immortal, but Lobo committing genocide proved that they could die. This is when the Brainiac Queen's hand pulls out giant claws as fingers, powered by the Kryptonians and the others. Not only has it brought this creation online, Brainiac's greatest achievement, his legacy to the cosmos, but she needs fuel to be completed. This is where Lobo and his people come into play. As the General charges in one swipe, he is torn to pieces. They all quickly recognize that this thing, it will absolutely decimate them. One by one, it tears them to shreds, rips their flesh from their bones. They never stood a chance. As the Brainiac Queen stands atop all of their bodies, what she requires is more power. Superman outraged, watching all of these people just get massacred by the Brainiac Queen. And Brainiac lets us know that they were all a necessary sacrifice. Because for years, Brainiac had hoarded, collected, absorbed all the knowledge of time, space, and the multiverse. Now he has brought something new into the world, his final masterpiece. And now they're gonna move on from this. The Queen will devour Superman, his allies, his enemies, anybody with meta powers. But even this is not gonna be enough to sustain her. The Brainiac Queen is going to require worlds. They will move world from world, consuming life as they see fit, all until the Queen can reach her final form. And if this means the end of everything, that will be the House of Brainiac's true legacy. Unfortunately for Brainiac, the main man is still alive and he is open and free. And not only is he free, but he knows that he can't do this fight alone. He just watched all of his people massacred. It doesn't take a genius to know what he needs to do right now in this moment. And that is when Lobo frees Superman, telling Superman that he hates to say this, that he's never gonna repeat it, but he messed up. He chose the wrong side. Now he wants to join up with Superman to take down Brainiac. And that is when the Brainiac Queen attacks. And even though Superman is free, his powers are depleted. He is not gonna be enough in this fight to take her on. And so while the Super Family, along with Lobo, fight against the Queen, Brainiac has some other plans. Lena Luthor. He had always said that she was the chosen one, with her father's spirit and her mother's immortal DNA. Merging this with his own intelligence turned her into the perfect avatar. He pushes her into the ship and it grabs hold of her, metal tubes piercing her skin, integrating with her. Now Brainiac knows that the knowledge he absorbed, it's overwhelmed his internal systems. This has been causing glitches. The effort to run his body, his drones, his duplicates, this ship, and the Queen, it's all taxing on him. It's too much even for him. And so Lena's mind is going to process all of it. And of course, this will kill her. As we pick up with the battle, nobody is able to make it to Lena, and this is when Superboy goes and tries something, having his tactile telekinesis. The villain known as the Chained had told him that his powers extended far beyond what he believes he is capable of doing, and so he tries something, and he is able to send an electrical surge through the entirety of this ship. In one fell swoop, he shuts down Brainiac's ship. And with that, the Brainiac Queen falls. She needs this ship to be fully operational for her to be fully operational. She needs all of that power to be feeding her. And in trying to save her life, we see Brainiac almost malfunction. Now, Brainiac says that he has done all of this because there's a hole in his knowledge, a secret kept from him. He believes this turned into infection. Superman tells him that this is not infection. He recruited others to share his knowledge with, created someone to pass on his knowledge to. Even to Superman, it is very clear what he has needed and what he has been searching for. That is family, a legacy, to have what Superman has. Among all the fighting, we see the arrival of Brainiac's son. He tells his father, how could you be so smart and miss the obvious? You kidnapped your family, you hid them away, you restored Kolu. That it is very obvious what you are missing from your precious knowledge. Now, while Brainiac talks to his family, Superman, with the super family, is rounding up as many cities as they can, trying to save them because right now the Brainiac ship is getting ready to explode. No power, this thing is about to go up, but they also still have to stop Brainiac. All of his others as well. This is where Lex Luthor comes in and says that he's got an idea, with Supergirl vouching for him. Lex goes on to say that he knows sometimes he makes moves that go over everybody's heads, but every lie that he has told so far about Brainiac was because he was worried about his daughter. Brainiac would never share his name or his role in the universe. For him, knowledge equals power, power equals knowledge. That was the key. He needs to spread out across the multiversal bodies. He does this over multiple bodies via a hive mind. Within the ship, that is where this exists. But one body cannot sustain that level of knowledge and power. So what Lex plans to do is become one with the Master Hive. Take control of Brainiac's entire network. This may kill him, but he is going to do it to try and save his daughter. And while Superman opposes this at first, he won't stop Lex from doing it. But the moment he turns this system on, all the other Brainiacs are going to be coming for him. That is where Superman is going to have to hold them off. Supergirl by his side, Lobo on the other, as these guys charge in on him. Alright gang, so as we dive into this issue, we pick up right in the fray. Brainiac knows that Lena and Lex have both made it into the hive mind, but Brainiac doesn't necessarily seem concerned that once his queen is fixed, there's nothing that's gonna be able to stop them. With Superman and Brainiac going blow for blow, Superman's powers at this point are fully back. Now knowing this, he doesn't hold back. But the more that Superman does use his powers, the more he gets charged up, the more that he is really vulnerable to being able to be used again to charge up the Queen. Brainiac vows that he will control the mind of Superman just like everyone in his hive and his family. And then he's going to send him in a rocket to orbit, going around the yellow sun, giving a continuous feed to the Queen forever. That your forces are overwhelmed and the House of Brainiac has won. But this is when we have the arrival of the House of L, the super family showing up and evening the odds. The super family recognized that there were simply too many cities to try to save, and the best thing that they could do is try to save all of this with Superman's help. They need to find a way to get them off and everybody else off the ship before it implodes. Picking up inside the hive mind, Lena and Lex have made it to the big brain, the control of everything. At one point in time, he would have loved to have this knowledge for himself, to control the secrets of the universe. But Lex has come to learn that there are more important things than power and knowledge. What he is going to do is erase Brainiac's database. Take away Brainiac's greatest weapon, his brain. But to do so, he must connect to it directly. And so with Lex connecting to this, his brain feels it, while also Brainiac does as well. His intelligence level begins to drop. All of the Brainiacs start shutting down. The mind control that Brainiac had over his family is disconnected. And with everything beginning to explode, not sure what they're gonna do about the lost cities, that's when Lobo shows up. And what Lobo does is shrink all the lost cities down even smaller. That way they can carry them in one container and save all the cities. Superman goes back in to have a final little chat with Brainiac. His intelligence level at this point is at 35%, and Superman wants to know why. Why did you do all of this? Claiming that he needed power, but his mind, his knowledge wastes away. With each passing second, more and more is taken from him, and all he is left with is emotions. The anger, the sadness, the loss. They cloud his every thought, wondering to himself, how could he ever live like this? How could anybody live like this? And Superman tells him that that is life, that you learn to share it with the people you love, to not bear the whole burden by yourself. At 25%, Brainiac says that even with his intelligence diminished, he's still 1,000 times smarter than the Kryptonian. But he tells him that Kolu is all that he has left from his past. He asks Superman to save it. And he will follow behind him. With Superman getting out of here, Brainiac talks, not sure if Superman can hear him, but he offers him a warning. Brainiac has witnessed the creation and the end of time and space. Pieces that nobody has yet seen. This is where he gives us the hints of what is in store for DC Comics. He says the Source Door, the Great Healing, the Millionth World, and the Crisis Gauntlet. The universe has been revealed to him in totality, and ultimately he learns that there is one truth. Everything dies. And one day, Superman is not going to be powerful enough to stop it. He will lose, just as his father did. He tells him that there is still time. We see Brainiac loading up the Queen into an escape pod. That after all the knowledge he has stolen, he felt a hole inside of him. He knew that he would die someday. He tried to create something that might outlast him. Something new. He gave the Brainiac Queen all that he is. Brainiac may be gone for now, but her story, the Brainiac Queen story, is just beginning. And as the ship is fired out of here, we see the Brainiac ship explode behind it. With all of our heroes making it back home, they searched the wreckage and they found nothing of Brainiac or the Brainiac Queen. Everyone heads off to their respective areas. When it comes to Brainiac's bottled cities, those have all been saved. Brainiac's son made something new. He made Kolu 2.0. All of those lost cities on one giant melting plot of a planet. Lobo thinks it might be some absolute chaos. He's gonna head over there. He's gonna see what kind of trouble he might be able to get into. Him and Superman kind of leaving off on a pretty good foot. But when Superman comes down to talk to Lex and Lena, Superman starts off the conversation by saying, "I was wrong in doubting you, that you did all you could to protect Lena. You have proven yourself yet again that you are becoming the man you promised to be." This is when Lex looks at Superman. He's very confused, not sure if Superman was talking to him, because it appears that Lex Luthor doesn't even remember his name. And that will be the end of this issue. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. The House of Brainiac, I think, was a huge success for Williamson. He really did knock it out of the park. Now, I'm a big fan of Joshua Williamson. His Flash line really settled that for me. His year one is absolutely phenomenal. But this House of Brainiac was awesome. Now, we can assume that Brainiac at some point in time will probably return some way, shape, or form. Maybe they'll say that he didn't really die here, he was able to escape as well, and then he had to figure out how to get his intelligence back. Or maybe someone found him and helped him get it back. Regardless, there's gonna be a way to bring back Brainiac, but at least for the time being, the Brainiac Queen seems to be filling those shoes. Now, we know that Amanda Waller found the Queen completely blank slated, did 20 years of simulations, and really became a mother to the Brainiac Queen, now using her as a weapon against the Justice League, against meta-heroes, against meta-humans alike. And if that isn't enough, we also get a small glimpse or small details on what is in store in the future. It does look like there will be a crisis on the horizon. They are referring to it as Crisis Gauntlet. All in all, this comic I think was pretty phenomenal. It was a lot of fun. I love seeing it. Now we are jumping right into Absolute Power next week, and I am excited to see how all of that plays out. And we're gonna have a round 2 with the Brainiac Queen. But let me know what you guys think. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your theories. If you want to get caught up on everything that is going on with this series, go ahead, check out the link in my description, as well as the top of this video. It's gonna get you completely caught up on everything that has been going on with the House of Brainiac. If you would like to support the channel, you can always do so by joining the channel membership. Much like Patreon, having multiple different tiers, from $1 to $50, from loyalty badges to comics every single month. Not only are you helping out the channel tremendously, but you are getting tons of perks in the process. Now, if you're unable to do this, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, like this video, hit that notification bell, and with that being said, until the next breakdown.